إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له من يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد, today barakallahu fikum, we did something the other day, was dealing with the shepherd over his flock, but this is like a continuation, barakallahu fikum, dealing with the shepherd and the wolf. So in this topic, inshallah ta'ala, that I'm going to talk about today, is going to be based upon what is some of the characteristics, or what are some of the intentions, or what is dealing from the natural instinctive behavior of the shepherd and also the wolf. And we use this topic as dealing with a protector and assassin, so that we can get a pretty good understanding coming from out of the world of unknown to some of us, because we never understood, but never probably was inside of a countryside or the mountains to understand what is it that a shepherd does, or what is his job. Also to be close up on a wolf to see the wolf behaviors and so forth like this. So barakallahu fikum, we want to address this also as the bodyguard or the protector or the assassin or the villain or something to this effect. So we're going to go on and we're going to talk about, I'm going to explain to you some of the understandings of dealing with the shepherd. And what is a shepherd? A shepherd is a leader. The shepherd is a leader who leads his flock. He is one who leads his flock. He is one who, the sheep, the herds, whatever he is escorting to the fact that so they can eat or get water or whatever the case may be, they follow him. He's made more so in the front. He's basically never too much in the back, and you might just have more than one shepherd. But it's like a multitude of sheep or a multitude of people that one have to escort or be responsible for. So the shepherd is a leader who leads his flock. He protects and he guides them. He protects and he guides them. He protects them with his life and so forth like this, and he guides them to wherever they need to go. So he is their guide. He is their focus. He is their sight, to take them where they need to go. So he takes them to pasture and good forest. So he takes them to where they need to get water, to feed, to eat, and so forth like this here, and he escorts them back. And I use this, and I know you probably figuring like, where is that I'm going with this? And where I'm going with this is that the same way the shepherd is the leader over his flock, I'm addressing this mainly to the men. We are the leaders over our flock. We are the leaders over that what we are been entrusted to by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we are the leaders. We've been entrusted. This is a manna. That's something that we have been trusted with. So we escort our families to the store. This is our responsibility. We escort them wherever they need to go. We bring them back. They never should ever be alone, basically. We're dealing with a protective self-defense situation here. I'm not talking about this international situation. I'm talking about in general, basically, of what I teach. So the thing is that it's real important that we as men, that we understand that these are some of the things, some of the conditions that is placed upon us, that we have to make sure that we exercise through our everyday life, even with our families, even with ourselves. So we know that the flock, that he leads his flock, he protects and he guides them to pasture and good forage. So he takes his family to good places. When they go to the supermarkets or whatever the case, he don't take them to places where that it may cause something that may happen, something like this here. He always take the most easiest route. He takes them to places where it's that it's good places, okay? So it's real important when he escort them there and he take them there to buy clothes, food, whatever it may be, things that one may need, his family members. He makes sure that he takes them to nice places. He don't take them to places where fitna may be or something may happen to them. So his primary responsibility is to the safety and the welfare of the flock. So his primary responsibility is to the safety and welfare of the flock. So his goal, his objective, right, is to make sure that that what is in his care, his flock, that he is escorting, whatever the case may be, that they are being very much taken care of. So in this regard, dealing with, like I said, protection, whatever the case may be, that as being men in Islam, right, me being a man, I'm a father, I'm a husband, first I'm a slave servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I have to make sure that I am capable, I am willing and able to be able to protect my family. It's real important that we understand this. This is not a job for a weak man. This is not a job for a boy, one who thinks childish. This is the responsibility that once we decide to have a family, all of this comes with it. Okay, so it's real important that we understand this. Okay, so his primary responsibility is to the safety and welfare of the flock of his family. And we're talking about, I'm using the terms because dealing with the shepherd and the sheep or the flock or whatever, it's because to give you an understanding, give you an understanding where we're going at with this, because in general, it's all the same. It's all the same. So he escorts the flock. He escorts them back and forth. He takes them where they need to go, because we're talking about in our society where we live at, and some of our societies and the world in general, they are criminals. They are crimes that happen. It's kidnappings, is people getting raped, robbed, whatever the case may be, killed, right? And so we just want to make sure that when we're taking our families out, that we're taking the most proper road. We're not going through areas where there are a lot of crime and so forth like this here. And I'm not saying that, unfortunately, some of us do live in areas that we don't have a choice but to live among these type of situations. But even if you step out of that area, you want to make sure that, you're taking your family a safe route, that you're escorting them and you're making sure that, they are safe at all times. This is the most important. Okay, so he escorted his flock and to graze and keep a watchful eye out for poisonous plants and predators. Now we're talking about when we say poison plants and predators, I'm giving an example where is that if you're talking about the wolf in general, or we're talking about the shepherd, and we're talking about the flock. So he makes sure that they don't come across poisonous things. So he has to have knowledge. You have to be able to identify what are the threats to his flock. So the same way, as a man, we have to make sure that we are able to protect our family, and when we're escorting them to and fro, that we have to make sure that we educate them and we protect them from anything that may poison us. Now, and when we look at that, we're talking about plants, right? But in our sense, and what we're talking about human beings, the poisonous things are, and we know that the most greatest things is shirk, right? We know this. But in this case, dealing with protection, physically protecting, then we just got to show them that what is this over here? What is that over there? Do not see these people over here standing here. We have to actually show them, stay away from that, stay away from this. So we have to be able to protect them from drugs. We have to be able to take them from alcohol. We got to be able to take them from smoking cigarettes. We have to protect them from a lot of things. So it's a lot of things that we have to be able, gang violence, the whole nine, okay? We have to make sure that when we escort them, these poisonous plants that the shepherd in the countryside or whatever would be protecting the sheep from, or whatever the case, whatever he's escorting, he protecting them from eating that, because once they eat that, then they become poisoned, then they die, and then the wealth of the shepherds is gone. Okay, they get sick. He got to take care of them. All of this is part of the shepherd's life. You got to wash them. You got to do this. You got to feed them. You got to give birth to the wolf. I mean, the shepherd job is so enormous. It's so big. It's a lot of responsibility to come with that. And so do we have a big responsibility as being fathers and husbands and so forth like this. So I just want to get you these identifications that you need to be able to show your family. Okay, it's really important that we understand this when you're escorting them. Don't be afraid to say over here it's a drug dealer, over here it's a prostitute, over here this is this, over here is that. You have to identify when they're on the road. You have to show them so they know what not to go to. Okay, all right. So it's really important. Then also about the predators. The predators, when you show them, telling them about predators, then you got to understand that these people are predators. These people are predators. You have to be able to teach them about safety. You got to be able to teach them about the alleyways. You got to be able to teach them about the human wolves. You got to be able to teach them about, these individuals that may hurt them, all because they are children, they women, they vulnerable, So you got to make sure that you are capable. The shepherd of his flock must be capable. Not saying, okay, I'm just a man, No, you got to be capable that you won't bring no harm to your family, that you won't bring no harm to the flock because you are negligent of your duties and your responsibilities. So it's real important that you understand this, okay? So, Brother Kofi, we're going to continue. So, he said he is a leader that the flock follows because he is reliable. That he's reliable. He's reliable. They trust him. The flock follows him because, what they heirs and what they see, He knows what he's doing. They follow him only because he have knowledge of that. So we know that the one in your household who's the leader of the household must be what? Knowledgeable. He must have some knowledge of where you live. He has to be able to travel. He has to be able to know what is right, what is wrong. All of these things are important, okay? So when we talking about alcohol, we talking about a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, how can they be in charge of a family? It's impossible. So in this case, that, it comes with being a man, knowing your duties and your responsibilities and things that you are obligated to do for your family. And we're just talking, like I said before, physical protection, physical protection. So, knowledge precedes speech and action. And we believe that knowledge, self-defense is 90% mental and 10% physical. Always remember that. So, he's a leader that the flock follows because he is reliable and trustworthy. They trust him with their life. And they depend on him for safety and security. So here it is again, these animals, depend on this shepherd for their safety and security. And we are human beings, and our children, our wives, people that we are entrusted with, they look at the man to be one who is reliable and dependable. That they want to be able for their safety and their security. So it's real important. So he is willing to sacrifice his life for the safety of the flock. And as well as again, he's a leader, and he's willing to sacrifice his life to save them. So this is also, again, this is what the shepherd job is. He sacrificed life for his family. This is what he does. So we must, as men, has been entrusted with the duty to protect our families and guide them to the safety and security with the knowledge and experience of how to protect our families from violent attacks. So we have to know that the man, he can't be a softie. The man in this time, in the urban areas we live in, where everything is hard, is rough. No one said that you got to be running around here somebody with Superman on your chest. We just talking about somebody that have some knowledge. Some people know how to avoid conflict. Some people is aware of their surroundings. But also they know how to defend themselves when they need to defend themselves. Because a woman needs a man that know how to protect her. And this is how it is. The children need a man that know how to protect her. So you can't be softy to the point that you're afraid. You're a coward. And I'm just saying this to the point that because we know that in the religion, being a coward is not from the religion. It's not from the religion at all. These are some of the things that Prophet Sallam used to make dua to stay away from. Lazy, cowardice, and laziness. So we know that being a coward, right, is not from our way. So you have to be able to be a man. You have to be able to step up. You got to be able to protect your family when they need to be protected. Okay? So it's real important that we understand that. But we don't never want to oppress nobody because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid oppression from himself. So he'll forbid oppression from any of us to oppress anyone. So we just want to make sure we're in the guidelines when we do protect ourselves and our families that we're not oppressing anyone. So it's real important. Okay, so that's basically dealing with the shepherd, some of the ideologies or some of the terms or some of the conditions that one must have in order, some attributes, if you want to call it that, when you take on the family and so forth like this, especially in the areas where we live at, where violence is rampant at all times. So it's real important that brother, when you step out of your home, that, the people know that this door is off limits, that anything in this house is off limits. Like, you really got to make that point, not sending a bad message, but you just got to make sure that you're protecting your family at all times. This is permissible. So, make sure to use hikmah, that you use wisdom on protecting your family at all times, because you don't want to cause more harm than good. So it's really important. So we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about the wolf, what we consider as the assassin. Okay, we're going to talk about the assassin, the wolf, right? Because remember, this is separate, and the wolf, right? So we're going to talk about the protector, the bodyguard, or whatever the case may be, and the wolf, the assassin, right? So when we look at the wolf, they said that the wolf is a predator, right? We're going to say that the wolf is a predator, which he is, and he is an opportunist, meaning that he waits for the opportunity to strike. And one of the things that I always taught in some of my classes is that we have this thing called a predator triangle that I've created, but it was really a crime triangle, but I call it a predator triangle. And it's come from a different origin from people, but I created one myself, and it's called the predator triangle. And it says that you put a triangle, and you got up top, on the sides, you got a target, which is the victim, a victim target. Then you have on the other side, you have the criminal aggressor or the predator aggressor. And then at the bottom, you have opportunity. Now, we know that if you look at that triangle, that in order for a crime to take place, in order for any assault to take place, you got to have that whole triangle got to be complete. So if you have a target and a victim over here, you have a criminal and aggressor over here, and on the bottom you have an opportunity, right? If you take any one of them away, there won't be no crime. It's impossible for a crime to take place. And I can't go into all of that right now, but just picture that. You got criminal, you have target, victim. You have criminal, aggressor, and at the bottom, you have opportunity. So if you put them three together, you got a cycle, but if you remove any one, just one, it's almost impossible for a crime to take place. So you got to try to understand that, okay? So we're going to go with that the wolf is an opportunist. He always wait for an opportunity to attack. He don't just always just come up and attack. He always watches first. He always plans this stuff out. He creeps until he finds the correct time to attack, okay? So this is real important. So you got to always try to be a hard target. Don't be an easy target. You're standing out. You look vulnerable and stuff like this here. You're not paying attention. You're not in shape. It don't look like, you can do much. Sometimes looks are deceiving. So, but if you have a professional person that's very aggressive, a lot of times over any type of prey, they're going to be successful. So you just want to clear that, make that understandable. So he's an opportunist. So they test their prey. They always test their prey. Like a wolf would test you. They would do certain things to see, like, how fast you're going to run, which way you're going to run, and stuff like this here. So they are opportunity, like I said, opportunists, and also they test their prey. So you might have a herd of sheep, and they might just come out and just do a dash real fast, and they want to see how you're going to run, which way you're going to run, okay? So they pick out what they're going to go after. If this guy, this sheep over here is too fat, this one over here is too old, this one over here got a broken leg, this one over here is a little teeny tiny. So they pretty much plan their attacks and who they're going to attack. And it says, and we saying that the sessions, it said, so they test their prey, sensing any weakness. They looking for weaknesses or vulnerabilities through visual, through their eyes and cues, and even through hearing and scent. Okay, so you gotta understand that they detect things. They detect things, and they know exactly what they want to go after. So they love to ambush. And we know this even from when you read reports and things like this here. You find out and you say, wow, this guy actually followed this woman for 2 days. They got him on camera. He followed her around the corner. He was there waiting for her at a job. He was in the parking lot. Everywhere the camera showed, it was this guy that was there somewhere close to this woman. So he, waiting for his opportunity. He got a target. You know what I'm saying? He got a target, got a victim, right? So now only thing he's trying to do is what? Be aggressive. He's trying to get aggressive. He's trying to find where his target at. And once he finds his target, he's waiting for the opportunity. So he set things up. And this is the same dealing with the psychological behavior, the mental of the wolf, the instinctive behavior, as well as a human being. So he says that the vulnerability through visual cues, and even through hearing and scent. So they love to ambush. They also on element surprise. So they do element surprise. They love to ambush and they like to come out at you. Like for instance, a lot of the element surprise is like, you know, these situations are some of the worst is because the thing is, you know, when a person catch you off guard, you know, you pretty much can't respond. You know, it's like matters of seconds that you go blank. And if a matter of 3 to 5 seconds, you pretty much going to be attacked and subdued or succumbed or overruled or overcome by that attack. So it's real important that you understand this, that you never put yourself in the position or try not with that you are vulnerable. So it's real important that you understand that too. So because they also like they pull the element of surprises and a short burst of energy. So they a short burst of energy meaning they just dodge out and they grab on and they, you know, just like a real attack. Like if you don't know attack is coming and they just basically jump on you. Okay, it just jump on you from nowhere. A lot of times you're not going to recover because you have to find out, basically identify where the threat coming from, who's attacking you, and when your adrenaline rushing, your mental, you go narrow minded. You're not seeing straight. The only thing you know is that something wrong. That's all you're gonna. And a lot of times people say, and you know, we say, yeah, Reb, or some people say, oh my God. This is the first thing. And these are say they don't believe in God. 9 out of 10, this comes out their mouth. This is a fact. Okay, so it's in our nature to know that what this is going to happen. It is going to happen. Okay, and we go through all kinds of shortnesses of remembrance and adrenaline rushing, heartbeat, anxiety, fear. So all this stuff happens when you get them ambush attacks or them sudden bursts of attacks. So this is how the enemy attacks. Like if he's a professional, something like that, he's gonna get you off guard. Majority, he's not gonna walk up to you and say he's gonna attack you, or he's gonna do it in your front of your face. A lot of times he's gonna come either from behind you, from the side of you, or somewhere that you will not be able to identify the threat coming. So we just want to make sure we understand that. So to secure, so the thing is that he went to love to ambush. They also on element of surprise and a short burst of energy to secure their prey. Right? So they do this to secure their prey, to make sure that you don't have a chance to escape. They rely on endurance and stamina. So they're willing to go a long distance. They go the long distance, right? And they have a lot of continuous. They steadfast. So they seek out their prey. Just like I was telling you about the aggressor, the criminal. They seek out their prey, choosing the weakness among the prey. So they probably won't even go after the big strong sheep. Like they wouldn't go after a big strong guy. They would go after for the meek woman or the child. So in this case, this is what the wolf does. They choose the age, gender, the